When you think about history, there are a few moments, a few speeches that just stick. They become part of how we all think.
Exactly. And the I Have a Dream speech is definitely one of them.
But today, we want to go deeper than just the famous lines.
Right. Our mission is to really understand the person, the movement, and the whole political situation that made that moment so powerful. It wasn't just the speech, it was the result of incredible organization.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. The man himself, Martin Luther King Jr.
He was born Michael King Jr. on January 15th, 1929, right in Atlanta, Georgia.
And his family background is so important here. His dad, Martin Luther King Sr., was a really well-known minister. His mom, Alberta Williams King, was a teacher.
So he grew up with this strong foundation in, both faith and education.
But you also have to remember the world he was born into. This was Atlanta in the 30s.
Segregation was the law.
Right.
De jure segregation, which means it was written right into the legal code.
Keeping black and white citizens apart in schools, on buses, in restaurants, everywhere.
And even though his family was doing relatively well, you just couldn't escape that reality.
And what's amazing, and I think often overlooked, is just how brilliant he was. I mean, this was a mind on another level.
Oh, absolutely. He was so smart that he skipped 2 whole grades in high school, the 9th and the 12th.
So he started college, Morehouse College, at just 15 years old.
15. And he didn't stop there. He went on to get a PhD in theology from Boston University.
And that academic side is so critical, isn't it? It wasn't just about passion, it was about strategy.
Yes. It gave him the tools to analyze these unfair systems and build these really complex, powerful moral arguments. He was studying people like Mahatma Gandhi and the principles of nonviolence.
So he had the intellectual framework. But the real action that started on the ground in the 1950s, people were just done waiting.
And that takes us right to Montgomery, Alabama, and the bus boycott.
We all know the famous starting point. December 1955. Rosa Parks refuses to give up her seat on a city bus.
But her act of defiance, as brave as it was the spark. The fire was the organized response that came next.
King was actually pretty new in town at that point, but he was chosen to lead the protest.
The Montgomery Improvement Association, that was the group. And their plan was simple but incredibly difficult. A bus boycott.
Meaning black citizens would just refuse to ride the city buses until the seating laws were changed.
And they kept it up for 381 days.
Over a year.
I mean, that is just an organizational miracle. People think it was just folks walking, but it was so much more.
They set up this massive carpool system, right, to get thousands of people to and from work every day.
Yeah, coordinating cars, raising money for gas and insurance, all while the city government was trying to shut them down, calling the carpools illegal.
And you have to imagine the pressure. Day after day, rain or shine, facing threats. King's own house was bombed during this.
And yet he kept insisting over and over that they meet all of this with calm, disciplined nonviolence, no exceptions.
And it worked.
It did. In late 1956, the Supreme Court ruled that bus segregation was unconstitutional.
That was huge. It was national proof that this strategy, this organized, peaceful economic pressure, could actually change federal laws.
It validated his entire approach, but that was just one city.
Right. Progress everywhere else was still painfully slow. So by 1963, civil rights leaders knew they needed to do something much, much bigger.
Exactly. Local protests were winning battles, but they weren't winning the war. They needed to force the federal government to act on a national level.
And that's the idea behind the March on Washington.
March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. The name is really important.
Because it tells you their specific goals. This wasn't just a general protest.
No, they had 2 very clear, very specific demands. First, they wanted new laws to end discrimination in employment. Better jobs, higher pay for everyone. That was the jobs part.
Economic justice.
And second, they demanded real federal protection for the right to vote. They wanted to get rid of all the local tricks like poll taxes or impossible literacy tests that were used to stop black citizens from voting. That was the freedom part.
So how do you get everyone to Washington for this? The logistics must have been a nightmare.
An absolute behemoth of a task. But they did it. On August 28th, 1963, people came from all over the country.
They came in buses, trains, cars.
Over 2,000 chartered buses, more than 20 chartered trains.
And on the day, more than 250,000 people gathered on the National Mall.
250,000 people. It was a really hot day, almost 90 degrees. But everyone who was there said the feeling wasn't anger, it was hope.
All gathered there, between the Washington Monument and the Lincoln Memorial. And that location was no accident.
No, Lincoln was the president who signed the Emancipation Proclamation 100 years earlier. The symbolism was incredibly powerful.
And King was the final speaker of the day.
Right. And he starts his speech with this brilliant analogy of an unpaid check.
He's basically saying that America wrote a promise in its founding documents: life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. But for its black citizens, that promise, that check, had come back marked insufficient funds.
It's such a powerful way to frame it. It's not a request for a handout. It's a demand to cash a check that is long overdue. He wasn't attacking America's ideals. He was demanding that the country finally live up to them.
And then, about halfway through his prepared speech, something amazing happens.
The great gospel singer Mahalia Jackson was sitting near him, and she just calls out, "Tell them about the dream, Martin. Tell them about the dream."
And he just pushes his notes aside.
He does. He just grips the podium and starts speaking from the heart, using themes he'd preached about before, but now it's for the whole world.
And that's where we get "I Have a Dream."
That famous rhythm, that repetition, "I have a dream, let freedom ring." It's like a sermon, and it just builds and builds.
And the dream itself, it's so clear. A future where his 4 little children would be judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
It gave everyone a positive goal, a vision of what they were fighting for, not just what they were fighting against.
But right after that incredible vision, he gets very practical. He gives the crowd specific instructions.
Yes, and this part is so often forgotten, but it's maybe the most important piece of strategy in the whole speech.
He knew the whole world was watching, looking for any excuse to call the movement violent or chaotic.
So he warns them directly. He says, "Do not drink from the cup of bitterness and hatred."
He tells them they have to stay on a high plane of dignity and discipline.
The strategy was to always, always maintain the moral high ground. He believed that meeting physical force with, as he put it, soul force, would eventually show the world how unjust the other side truly was.
And then he brings it home, naming states all over the country: New Hampshire, New York, Georgia, Mississippi.
He's making it clear that this isn't just a Southern problem. This is an American problem. Freedom has to ring from every single mountainside.
So you have this huge crowd, this incredible speech, these clear demands. Did it work? Did it lead to actual change?
It created a political pressure that was just impossible to ignore. President Kennedy had been a bit cautious before, but after the march, there's this massive urgency.
And even though Kennedy was assassinated just a few months later, that momentum kept going.
Absolutely. In 1964, the very next year, Congress passed the Civil Rights Act.
A landmark law. It basically outlawed segregation in public places and discrimination in employment across the entire country.
And it didn't stop there. A year after that, in 1965, came the Voting Rights Act,
Which finally put a stop to those discriminatory voting practices and put federal oversight in place to make sure everyone could vote.
the 2 key demands of the march, delivered.
And the world took notice. King won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1964.
He was only 35, the youngest person to receive it at that time.
And what he did with the prize money says everything about him.
It really does. He took the whole amount, about $54,000, and donated every penny to the different organizations working for civil rights. It was never about him. It was always about the movement.
So today, when we look back, the march and the speech, it's a masterclass in strategic nonviolent power.
It really is. It shows that real, lasting change takes time. It takes hard work from so many people.
But it also shows that one person with a clear vision and incredible courage can change the world.
The core lesson really is that progress takes relentless work. But here's a thought to leave you with. King's dream wasn't about making everyone the same. It was about making sure everyone was treated with the same dignity. So the question for us is, what are the things we still need to do today to make sure that judgment is based on character in every part of our lives?
A powerful question. Good luck with your studies.